Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of Strictly Sports. This is for the first time in a long time. It's a 2-for-1 deal tonight. Myself and Anthony Florio are going to be covering Game One of the NBA Eastern Conference first round matchup, the Chicago Bulls and the Boston Celtics, and then we also have Stanley Cup playoffs Game Three, the Montreal Canadiens versus the New York Rangers as the scene shifts to Madison Square Garden. Well, I'll say it like this, guys. It was a 50-50 night for yours truly and Anthony Florio. Celebration, jubilation for the Chicago Bulls as we had a praise Jesus moment, as Anthony would like to say, as the Bulls take game one over the Boston Celtics by the final score of 106-102. However, in the NHL, not so much. Unfortunately, not what we were hoping for. The New York Rangers falls to the Montreal Canadiens 3-1 was the final score, and now the Rangers are down 2-1 in the best of seven series. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna recap the Chicago Bulls first because they started earlier, 6:30 tip off to New York 7 o'clock, and their game finished first. So we're gonna do the Bulls corner, have Anthony give his thoughts about the game. Then we're going to do the Ranger Roundup, and then we'll go from there. So, with that said, let's do the Bulls corner. And like I said, the Chicago Bulls did indeed win the first game of the best of seven series, defeating the Boston Celtics tonight 106-102. But before we get going and before we start all the game, um, as many of you know, there was a major tragedy that went down just yesterday. The sister of Isaiah Thomas, who is 19 years old, lost her life in a car accident. And even though we are the rivals, that the Bulls and the Celtics are playing against each other, and we are loyal to Chicago, we must take a moment and we would like to send our condolences and our deepest sympathies to not only Isaiah Thomas, to him and his entire family, but to the Boston Celtics family as well. This was a horrific tragedy, something that we never wish on any person going into a playoff series, and just the timing of it was absolutely horrific. And for us, even on this special holidays and one of the most holiest of holidays, Easter weekend, it's even it's like a double indemnity for us. So, on the behalf of Anthony Florio and myself, and to all the Bulls fans from around the world, we give our thoughts and prayers, and we tip our caps to the Celtics family, and especially to Isaiah Thomas. And we wish you guys nothing but the best. All you guys are in our hearts, in our prayers tonight, and we wish you guys um, the very best, because that's a horrible thing that happened, to say the very least. So let's get into game one. Before the game even got started, basically there was a beautiful tribute by the Boston Celtics, honoring Isaiah Thomas's sister. They did a moment of silence, a small little tribute on the video board before the game started. Even over an overwhelming moment, Isaiah Thomas got caught up in the moment, shedding a few tears, which is completely understandable. In a tragedy like that, there's really you just can't phantom or put the ramifications of what happened in that at all. So we do go on, and the next thing we do get is the game starts out. Basically, it was basically a free for all. Basically, Boston tried to break away. At the end of the first quarter, it was 28-23 Boston. They did take the lead on Chicago, but Chicago hung tough. I think the quarter, I think Chicago kind of got away. early, but we won't know until very much. So second quarter, all right. Chicago exploded. Started out on a 10-0 run. That gave them a big lead of 33 to 28. Boston then came back on Chicago, and it was a battle, a free for all. We all expected this, but when it was all said and done, Boston takes the lead 48-46 at halftime. Basically, it was Al Horford making a jumper with about a second to go. That gave the Celtics the lead going into halftime, even though Chicago won the quarter 25-18. Third quarter, basically, it was practically a dogfight the whole way through. Neither team really could break free. The biggest lead in this quarter was Boston was actually up by 5, but they really could not break free. Chicago really hung tough in the third quarter, and it was practically a complete whitewash. Basically, Boston won the quarter 28-26, and at the end of 3, it was all tied at 74. In the fourth quarter, this is where Chicago finally looked like they were starting to break free. They had a little bit of a lead. It was at 1.87 all, and then Chicago exploded. They broke away from Boston, having a 95-88 lead at one point with about 4 minutes left. Boston tries to make a fevered comeback. However, it just was not enough. Chicago had enough of a cushion where it pretty much got pretty tight. It got really close at one point with like 7 seconds left where it was 104-102. But a costly foul put Jimmy Butler on the line. He makes his 2 free throws. Ball game. The final score of game 1. The Chicago Bulls wins it 106. The Boston Celtics 102. With that said, Anthony Florio, come on in and give me your thoughts on this terrific big win by the Chicago Bulls.
Hallelujah. Praise God. Yes, indeed. Hello, friends. Anthony Florio here with you for this very special edition of Strictly Sports. And boy, howdy, I can honestly say, MF, I mean, I did not see this coming. I really did not. I mean, I thought the Boston Celtics were going to absolutely manhandle us, but boy, howdy, I was wrong. I mean, but before we, break down the X's and the O's, being the analyst that I am, being the best damn color analyst who tells it like it is, I'm going to be real honest with you. I want to send out my thoughts and prayers to the family of Isaiah Thomas for that unspeakable tragedy that went down yesterday. I'm praying for you and your family, brother. That's all there is to say on that. So keep your head up, and that's all there is to say on that. So maybe the emotion maybe got to him a little bit, and that's why he might have been a little off. But no, he was not off. He still had his usual big game. But I know normally we do the 3 stars for the NHL, but I'm going to do a 3 stars here for this one. My number 1 star of the game, hands down, was Jimmy Buckets, man. Jimmy Butler. I mean, 30 points, 9 rebounds. I mean, wonderful game for Jimmy Buckets, and he played really well tonight. Isaiah Thomas is my number 2 star, although you could really make an argument for him to be the star of the game because he led all scorers with 33, and he had 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Very good game for him. And my number 3 star of the game is going to be a bench warmer, believe it or not. Bobby Portis coming off the bench, 19 points, 9 rebounds. I mean, and 2 blocks. He was my number 3 star of the game. But to me, the star of the game was Jimmy Butler, man. That's all I can say on that. Jimmy Buckets was the main reason why the Bulls won this game. But hey, let's give it up for Robin Lopez. I mean, honorable mention as well. 14 and 11 rebounds for Robin Lopez. D Wade, 11 points, 6 assists and 5 rebounds. And the man you love to hate, MF, Rajon Rondo, who I know is public enemy number one in your eyes. But hey, he plays for us now. So any ill feelings you have toward him, check him at the door, man. And he played, and I thought he had a solid game as well. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. That was almost like a vintage Rajon Rondo game. And that's why I actually liked his body of work. But then I noticed the Noggin Diva stuff that he went through, and then he drew my ear a little bit, but not as much as MF, because we all know MF has a pure hatred for Rajon Rondo, even though he plays for our team now. But hey, at least give him credit for what he did tonight. But Isaiah Thomas, most definitely the star of the game for the Celtics. Horford, I thought, had a solid game as well. 19 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds on his side. Jay Crowder, 9.8 rebounds. Okay, but would have liked to have seen a little more from him. Avery Bradley, 14 to go with 3 rebounds. And as we break it all down, the field goal percentage edge, just about even. I mean, it's practically even. By a percentage point, the Celtics were better. 43% even, where the Bulls was shot 42.9. Dead heat, 43 to 42.9. 3-point shooting, well, that edge actually went to Boston. They were 14 out of 38 for 36.8%, whereas the Bulls were 8 out of 25 for 32%. The free throws, that was the key stat here. The Bulls were 87% from the free throw line, 20 out of 23. The Celtics, 14 out of 19, respectable, but that's only 73.7%. Rebounding edge, it was all Chicago. 53 total rebounds. Here's another key stat. 53 rebounds by the Bulls tonight. Celtics, 36. Major discrepancy there. Assists. Celtics actually won that department, 27 to 22. Turnovers, both teams were rather sloppy with the ball. The Bulls committed 16 turnovers. Celtics committed 15. That's a dead heat right there. Chicago won the steal game 10 to 9. Blocks in favor of the Bulls 7 to 4. Celtics 20 personal fouls. Bulls committed only 18. And that's it. So, and Isaiah Thomas drew a technical foul during this game. So yeah. A much better performance than I initially thought from the Chicago Bulls. I mean, I didn't have high hopes for them going into this series, especially after the turmoil season that they had. There was some infighting, like I mentioned the other night when we did Strictly Sports. But I'll say this, they surprised me. I mean, not only did they surprise me, but they impressed me. I don't impress easy. But that performance tonight by the Chicago Bulls was a fantastic performance, and they've stolen the home court advantage. I couldn't be any more delighted about that. Game 2, Tuesday night, back at the Garden in Boston. The Celtics look to even the series. And I hate to say it, but I got to consider that somewhat of a must-win for the Celtics. Because if they lose that game and they go back to Chicago down 0-2 going into Game 3 on Friday night, they're going to be in major trouble. Because both teams split the regular season series 2-2, and all 4 times the home team won. The Bulls won both meetings in Chicago. The Celtics won both meetings in Boston. But tonight the road team finally breaks through, and the Chicago Bulls steal one at the TD Garden. What a performance indeed. And hats off to the Chicago Bulls, and a fantastic performance by them. And I could not have been any more delighted with that outcome. 106 to 102. And now it's on to Game 2. And Isaiah Thomas, I mean, like I said, prayers to you and your family, brother. I mean, that's a horrible, I mean, yeah. I remember reading one tweet on Twitter a moment ago saying that how many of us were rooting for the Celtics to win that one tonight, and how people were sad and let down because of that. And I can certainly understand that. I mean, you definitely wanted to wanted to have an uplifting moment after such a horrific tragedy. But then again, we've seen that in Boston before. 4 years ago at this time, we all remember the Boston Marathon. We all remember what happened that. Just about 7 months later, the Boston Red Sox literally lifted that city's spirits when they won the World Series. Not only did they win the World Series, but they won it in Boston at Fenway Park, which to me is still, for me, the greatest moment in New England sports history, hands down. Even better than when they broke the curse of the Bambino. So that's a story for another day. But, Isaiah Thomas easily could not have played in this game. He easily could have, put his family first and said, I can't play tonight. I mean, my heart's not in it. So I would have understood him taking the game up, but I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Completely understand.
Yeah. I mean, family comes first, no matter what. Whether you play in the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, the NFL, what have you, or even with us. I mean, even if we have, even if there's nights where we're scheduled to broadcast and something, like a family emergency or something like that comes up, we put that aside. So we put the show aside. I mean, I know I would. So, but Isaiah Thomas still played anyway. I'm sure it's the classic case of, I'm sure she would have wanted me to play tonight. I'm sure that was the adage going in. But I'll give Isaiah credit. I mean, he easily could have told his head coach Brad Stevens, "Look, coach, I'm sorry, I can't go. My heart is totally not in this tonight. I'll be ready for Tuesday though." But no, he played and he played his heart out, man. But it was just not enough on this night. So that's it. So. Congratulations, Chicago Bulls. Well done. We salute you. We're proud of you. Hopefully now we can keep it going, keep the momentum going into game 2. And can you imagine if we somehow do it again on Tuesday and go home up 2-0? Can you imagine that? Boy, howdy, would that be something? And MF, you touched on it the other night. We've seen 8-1 upsets in the NBA playoffs before. How about 1994? Denver. Which I consider the biggest first round upset of all time, when the Denver Nuggets upset the Seattle Supersonics. I mean, Seattle was one of the odds-on favorites, if not the odds-on favorite, to win it all that year. Yeah, what happened? Denver tripped them up. 1999. How about the New York Knicks when they knocked off the Miami Heat? Knicks were an 8 seed, and go figure, they went all the way to the NBA Finals that year before San Antonio absolutely holiday hammed them. But it is what it is, and of course. I believe it was in 2007, 10 years ago, when the Golden State Warriors, as an 8 seed, upset the number 1 seed and heavily favored Dallas Mavericks. That was the team everybody thought I certainly had them winning it all that year, but boy, how did I look like an idiot. Or I should say a stupid idiot and a muttonhead 10 years ago. But who knows? It's only one game. Let's not get carried away. Let's not break out the balloons and the party hats like I always say. But we will tonight. But let's not get too carried away, because 9 times out of 10 you get too carried away, you get burned. So that's all I can say on that. So let's take it a game at a time. I'm happy we got the first one. Now let's see what happens. Can they keep the momentum going in game 2, or will the Celtics flex that muscle and even this thing before we go to Chicago for Friday? So. That's pretty much all I can say there. So, MF, your thoughts on this surprising win for our Chicago Bulls tonight?
Well, it was a surprising win. I think it's just that, I think Chicago just got sick and tired of hearing all the naysayers. A lot of people did predict Boston to win the series. And I think it was just the fact that, Fred Hoiberg, being listed as one of the worst coaches in the NBA today, and, the dysfunction of the Bulls all season long. But if you really think about it, especially the last 2 weeks, Chicago really turned it around. They closed the season on a very good run that got them into the playoffs. So they knew they were playing with the house money. And to go up against the Boston Celtics, a team that, we did split the regular season at 2-2. So it was like we kind of knew that we can beat them. It's just do we have enough? Is there enough weapons for us to do? And can we pull it off? And apparently, well, at least for tonight, check mark yes on that notebook, because we were looking for superstars. The big stars represented. Rondo, yeah, as much as I may not like Rondo, he had a great game. Jimmy Butler, star of the game, definitely deserves the #1 star. Wade's gonna get better. Wade was good, but not great. But like you said, I was watching the game a little bit early because I had my lunch break, so I was able to watch a little Bulls on my cell phone and during my lunch period. And I'm gonna say the one guy who was really like popping out of my cell phone, and I'm gonna say it, was Lopez. Robin Lopez, where did you come from? Cow, what a performance! He was making a lot of great putbacks. He dunked on one, then he hit this beautiful 20-foot shot, like way out there. And I was like, man, this guy's got range. Where was this all season long? And then again, Bobby Portis. I'm so glad. There was a lot of rumors that they were going to try to trade him away, and they didn't. Thank God they didn't. And look at the dividends he played in tonight's Game 1 win. So, without a doubt, where the moments had to be, they represented. They were clutch. Bulls win Game 1. Like you said, now what are we going to look at? Is it going to be a split, or does Chicago go back to the Madhouse on Madison with a 2-0 lead? We're going to have to wait Tuesday night, because that's when the next game's going to be. All right. We got to shift gears, and oh boy, it's not going to be fun now. The New York Rangers versus the Montreal Canadiens in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference first round series, and Montreal finally establishes why they are one of the top teams in the NHL. They beat the New York Rangers 3-1 tonight in Madison Square Garden. The Garden has become our own. It's become somebody put some voodoo in the Garden. I don't know what's going on with the Rangers at home lately. This is the 6th consecutive playoff loss in Madison Square Garden for the New York Rangers. We're gonna need something, man. We're gonna have to go to church or something. Anthony might have to pray to Jesus. I'm gonna have to pray to God, or the Virgin Mary. I don't know what's going on with the Rangers in the Garden, man, because we're not playing like what we're supposed to be playing. All right, let's break it down. There was no scoring in the first period, a hard bruising period, 2 penalties on the Canadiens. Jeff Petrie goes into the box for 2 for a hook. Nothing happened there. Alex Galchenyuk, he high sticked one of the Rangers. He gets a 2-minute penalty. Nothing doing there. So that's why we ended up with no score. Then once we get into the second period, basically the Rangers makes a horrific mistake. JT Miller gets called for a delay of game, putting the puck over the glass in the defensive zone. That's a major no-no. You can't do that. Power play for Montreal, and they make New York pay dearly for that mistake. Basically, it is Brandon Gallagher to Thomas Plekanec to Jokinen. He puts it in the back of the net right by Henrik Lundqvist. 1-0 Montreal, and that was a backbreaker. Basically, that really hurt New York so much for that. Basically, they're down 1. Then later, and then in the third period, Matt Zuccarello, oh man. All right, gets hit, double minor, high stick, 4-minute penalty. Basically, hit a guy with a high stick. It drew blood. That's a double minor. And again, the Canadiens make the Rangers pay for it. It was Alex Galchenyuk to Alex Alexander Rusevson to Shea Weber, the one-time Nashville Predator, now Montreal Canadien, makes the Rangers pay 2-0. The goal in the third period at 7:42, and then to add insult to injury, a third goal by the Canadiens. It was Rusevson goal. Philip Dubois gets the assist. It was 3-0. New York gets a consolation goal right towards the end of the game as Brady Shea gets it. Give Kevin Klein and Mika Zibanejad the assist, but it was game over. The Montreal Canadiens beats the New York Rangers by the final score of 3-1. All right, let me just give you the quick stats, and then Anthony can come in with his stars of the game as well. Basically, it was Montreal outshot New York 29-21. The hits, actually, New York won that. They were the more aggressive team, 41-31. Giveaways, New York made a lot of mistakes in this one. 21 quote-unquote turnovers to 8 by the Canadiens. Takeaways was 7-6 advantage New York, and then Montreal won the face-off battle 31-28. And the 3 stars of the game, Alexander Rusevson got the number 3 stars, which was one goal and 1 assist. The second goal went to Ari Jokinen as he got 1 goal, which was the key goal, the first goal of the game that pretty much broke the back of the Rangers. And Carey Price, only 20 saves in the game, stopping 20 of 21. He gets the number 1 star. All Canadiens, no big surprise here. Anthony, this was a rough game 3 to watch. Give me your thoughts about the Canadiens basically flexing their muscle against New York tonight.
You want my thoughts? I'll give you my thoughts. This is one of the rare times where I'm about to do something I'm going to regret here. And, you know, it's, I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to channel my inner 1997 Bret Hart on this one. Yeah, okay. The Rangers tonight. If I could sum it up, I'll sum it up like this. No bark, no bite, no sense of urgency whatsoever. I have never seen a more flatter performance by a Ranger team in all the years we've been doing this. I mean, I joined the Ranger bandwagon 20 years ago when they had Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier, when MF and I were in the 7th grade, when we were starting our tenure in junior high. And I'll never forget that year. That was a great year for us. Went all the way to the conference finals. I'll never forget it. And then, of course, the magical year we had 3 years ago. Yeah, okay. They're terrible at home, MF. We've lost our luster in Madison Square Garden. I mean, our own home is turning into our own personal house of horrors. Did you ever see a game? Have you ever, in all the years we've been, covering Ranger games for the 20 years, playoffs and all that, did you ever see a Ranger team that had no bark, no bite, no sense of urgency, and no balls whatsoever? That's what I saw tonight. Every one of those things they didn't have that I said, they certainly did not have that tonight. No bark, no bite, no sense of urgency, and most of all, they had no damn balls whatsoever. Absolutely horrible. I was never more mortified as a Ranger fan in my entire life. I mean, the last time I can remember a piss poor Ranger performance was Game 3 of the 2014 Stanley Cup Finals against Los Angeles Kings. I thought they would never have. I never thought they would actually have a worse performance than that. I'm going to go on the record tonight by saying the performance by the New York Rangers tonight was far and away the absolute worst performance I have ever seen by a Ranger team. And on this night, this Easter Sunday of all days, Resurrection Sunday, for Christ's sake, I was never more embarrassed and never more mortified to be a New York Ranger fan. I mean, if I went to that game tonight, I would have wanted my money back. After a piss poor performance like that, if I'm going to pay to see this team play in the world's most famous arena, I want to see a sense of urgency. I want to see a bark. I want to see a bite. And most of all, I want to see balls. I didn't see any of that tonight whatsoever. The Montreal Canadiens, on the other hand, 5-star performance. They took the momentum from game 2. I mean, 17 seconds away, 17.3 seconds away from going home with a 2-0 lead, and then they choke it away. And then tonight, they absolutely phoned it in. They can deny it all they want, MF, but you and I know, and Ranger Nation, we all know tonight we did not show up. The Montreal Canadiens basically kicked the door down and made themselves right at home in Madison Square Garden. And I would not be surprised if come Tuesday night in Game 4, the exact same thing happens again. I'll say it like this, Rangers, you either want it or you don't. And if you don't, stop wasting our damn time. That's all there is to say about that. Channeling my inner Triple H from that Tough Enough. They obviously don't want it. So it's obvious, MF, we're on our way to another playoff disappointment. So reading a couple of, but they did address it on social media. I caught this from the New York Rangers Twitter feed. Derek Stepan saying, you just got to make sure you get yourself ready for Game 4. And then Henrik Lundqvist, we need more. It's as simple as that. No, duh, you need more, Hank. You need more, bro. Simple as that. We need a hell of a lot more if we're going to have a chance here. Montreal's got revenge on their mind. You think they forgot it? You think they've forgotten about what we did to them 3 years ago? Hell no, they haven't forgotten about it. I wouldn't have. If the roles were reversed, we wouldn't. We would damn sure not forget it. Holy crackers. I had never seen a more embarrassing performance and a more sloppy performance. 21-8 giveaway advantage? What? 21 giveaways? Uncharacteristic. 21 shots on goal. Power play, they can't even buy themselves a power play goal. Okay, you out hit them. That's great. That's fine and dandy. But that doesn't mean crap. You know what? The only thing that matters is the scoreboard. That's what matters. And the scoreboard did not go our way here. And after that embarrassing performance tonight, I am not even going to dignify them with a comment tonight. I am not even going to give you a star of the game because there was not one star of that game tonight. Not one. Brady Skjei, yeah, you scored. Too little, too late, brother. Too little, too late. So I'm sorry, but I am so beyond pissed off with that performance tonight. I am not even going to dignify any Rangers. Instead, I'm going to show all my love to the Montreal Canadiens because they damn sure deserve it. Carey Price, #1 star. I could see that. I mean, he did have 20 saves on 21 shots. I mean, the Rangers had no sense of urgency whatsoever. And Carey, I would not have been surprised if by the end of this game, Carey Price went to the back and didn't even break 1 ounce of sweat tonight. I mean, he basically got a free pass tonight. He basically didn't even have to do a thing. You could have had an empty net and they still wouldn't have done what they would have done nothing with that. But it's Alexander Radulov, MF, with all due respect. Radulov, the hero of Game 2, another great game.
Yeah, I always have a tough time with the Swedish and Russian names. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. No, absolutely not your fault, MF. I mean, Not a problem at all. I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad at our team's performance tonight. That was absolutely horrible, disgusting. And that's why I'm not even going to dignify any of them. If you want to dignify them, go ahead, but I'm not. Simple as that. You can take care of that end. I'm showing all the love to Montreal tonight because they played a hell of a lot better than we did tonight. All right. Pacioretty had a fine game, but looking at it, looking at all the numbers here, of course, Radulov, Shea Weber, who came over to Montreal in the Subban trade that sent Subban to Nashville. 4 hits and a block shot to go with the goal he had tonight. Well done. Petrie, 6 hits, 2 blocks. Great game out of you, sir. Well done. Markov had a couple of blocks. King had 5 hits and a block shot. Plekanec, 3 hits. I mean, just an absolutely masterful performance. And say what you want about Claude Julien, but Claude Julien has absolutely brought it to the table for this Montreal Canadiens team here tonight. So since he came over, 16-7-1, and you can now add 2-1 in this playoff year so far. Friday night, I said I like the Rangers in the series. After what I saw tonight, nope, I'm changing my pick. Montreal in 5. It's as simple as that. So like I said, they obviously don't want it. So if you want it, you either want it or you don't. And if you don't, stop wasting our damn time. That's all there is to say on that. So congratulations, Montreal. You damn sure deserve this win. And for the New York Rangers out there, Alain Vigneault and company, after that piss poor performance tonight, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. I'm ashamed to be a New York Ranger fan on this. And if this nonsense keeps up, I'm taking my ball and I'm heading out. I do not want to be associated with a team like that. Piss poor performance like that, give me a break. Done. MF, go.
I'm just going to end it. There's really nothing more to say. I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. That was a below subpar performance by the New York Rangers, and this was a horrible, horrible performance, to say the very least. I mean, we've seen some bad losses. We've seen some bad performances in Stanley Cup playoffs. I think this has to be one of the worst. No doubt about it. They better come to play in Game 4, or this will be an open and shut case, and there's really nothing more to say. All right, guys, so that's it. We're in the bag for the night. Of course, tomorrow night is another edition of Ridiculously Raw on Anthony Floyo's channel on the Tone 25, as we'll be recapping Monday Night Raw, and plus he's got the Tony's Take. And he also got another edition of Impact Wrestling. So until then, thank you so much for watching this. Like the video, share it with all your friends on all platforms of social media. And until then, Hustle and Pounds, we're out. Have a good night, everybody, and so long for now.